Akachukwu, the wicked girl. Akachukwu was the kind of girl mothers warned their children about. She was cunning, ruthless, and had a heart as cold as the harmattan wind. In the small town of Umokwe, her name was whispered with fear and resentment. Though she was beautiful, with dark, piercing eyes and skin like polished ebony, her beauty masked a soul filled with malice. From a young age, Akachukwu had learned that kindness was a weakness. Her mother, a bitter woman who had been abandoned by her husband, had drilled it into her head. "The world is cruel," she often said. "If you want to survive, you must be crueler." And so Akachukwu lived by those words. She deceived, manipulated, and took pleasure in other people's misfortunes. Girls in the village feared her, for she had a way of ruining friendships and turning people against each other. Boys admired her beauty, but knew better than to fall into her trap, except for the foolish ones who thought they could tame her. Her wickedness knew no bounds. One day, the village tailor, Mama Efeoma, made the mistake of refusing to sew Akachukwu's dress on credit. "My daughter, you know times are hard," Mama Efeoma had pleaded. "I cannot give you cloth without payment. I have children to feed." Akachukwu's lips curled into a smirk. "Is that so?" she said, her tone sweet, yet dripping with menace. That night, Mama Efeoma's shop mysteriously caught fire. By morning, all her hard work had turned to ashes. People suspected Akachukwu, but no one dared confront her. Who would? She had a way of twisting words and making even the most innocent person look guilty. But her wickedness did not stop at petty vengeance. She had a hunger for power, a desire to control everyone around her. When she set her sights on Enyinaya, the wealthiest young man in Umuokwe, no one was surprised. Enyinaya was handsome, hard-working, and the pride of his family. Many girls dreamt of marrying him, but he was in love with Adaora, a humble and kind-hearted girl from the village. Their love was pure, the kind that made people believe in happy endings. But Akachukwu despised happy endings, especially when they did not include her. Determined to have Enyinaya for herself, she devised a plan. She spread vicious rumors about Adaora, whispering into the ears of influential elders that Adaora was a witch who had cast a spell on Enyinaya. "Have you noticed how he no longer listens to his own mother?" she would say. "That girl has bewitched him." The rumors spread like wildfire, poisoning the minds of the people. Even Enyinaya's mother, a superstitious woman, began to doubt Adaora. Under pressure, Enyinaya was forced to break up with her. Adaora, heartbroken and humiliated, left the village in tears. Akachukwu had won, or so she thought. The day of her wedding to Enyinaya was grand. She wore a gown fit for royalty, her face glowing with triumph. But just as the priest was about to pronounce them husband and wife, the doors of the church burst open. A figure stood in the doorway, her silhouette framed against the sunlight. Gasps filled the room as people recognized the face of Adaora. But something was different about her. Gone was the timid village girl. She stood tall, her eyes burning with something fierce. "I have returned," she said, her voice steady. Whispers filled the church. Enyinaya's heart pounded. Akachukwu's smile faltered, but she quickly regained her composure. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. Adaora stepped forward, her gaze locked on Enyinaya. "Before you marry her, there is something you must know." Silence fell over the church. Then, in front of everyone, Adaora revealed the truth. She had not simply left the village in disgrace. She had gone to seek justice. With the help of a wise old healer from a neighboring town, she had uncovered the truth behind Akachukwu's lies. The healer had used his powers to summon the spirits of truth, and they had spoken, revealing Akachukwu's wicked deeds, her lies, and even the fire she had set to Mama Ifeoma's shop. As Adaora spoke, an eerie wind blew through the church, sending shivers down everyone's spines. Suddenly, Akachukwu's body began to tremble. Her hands turned clammy, and sweat dripped down her face. "You're lying," she shrieked. "This is witchcraft." But the spirits were not done with her. A loud wail filled the air, and the candles in the church flickered wildly. The villagers watched in horror as dark shadows began to swirl around Akachukwu. The spirits had come to claim her. She let out a blood-curdling scream as the shadows enveloped her, her body convulsing violently. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the church fell silent. Akachukwu lay motionless on the floor. Enyinaya, his face pale with shock, stepped back. The villagers, too afraid to go near her, whispered amongst themselves. She has been punished, an elder finally said. And so Akachukwu, the wicked girl, met her end, consumed by the darkness she had once thrived in. As for Adaora and Enyunaya, fate was kind to them. In time, they found their way back to each other. Their love, tested and strengthened by trials, blossomed once more. And the village of Umuokwe, free from Akachukwu's tyranny, learned a valuable lesson, that no matter how powerful evil may seem, justice will always find a way.